Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. We're up to episode 73. Diz, welcome on.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here. We've got a big episode lined up this week. Steve from the Coast to Coast Tuna comp.
Yeah, Steve Powell, he's a great man.
And we're going to really look forward to having a chat with him a bit later on. He'll give us a bit of an inside scoop as to obviously what's happening at the comp, but also we'll sort of have a bit of a discussion about some of the hot topics down at that part of the world and hopefully find out a bit of intel about where the tuna are already.
Exactly right, Diz. Yes, that's what everyone wants to know, isn't it?
Absolutely. All right, before we get to that, we've got our usual segments to get through today, Rhodey. Let's get into the oranges and lemons. What's your orange been?
Dizzy, we've been shopping. I love a bit of shopping.
Oh, yes, I know you
Only
like
when
giving
it's
the credit card a workout.
Fishing or adventuring or outdoors. But what have we bought, Diz?
We've got ourselves a drone, guys.
So that is my orange, Diz. We've just come back from the park.
Yes.
Taking it for a little spin.
Yeah.
With a test run.
Getting our bearings, learning the ropes on it. We want to make sure that we don't smash it into a tree or something like that, because no doubt with you at the helm, we'll probably do that one day.
Well, Diz, I could at least get the thing up in the air. You sort of didn't know what button to press or where to look or what to do.
Oh, that's because after we got it, you just wouldn't let me go near it. You just squirreled it away and said, oh, that'll be mine. Thanks, champ. I'll hold that.
Well, mate, I've been the one watching YouTube videos all week.
Yes, no
I could
doubt.
practically run an education session.
No doubt. But that's a big orange and a big scalp for the podcast.
So, yeah, the DJI Mini 3 Pro.
Yeah.
Got all the gadgets. It's got the screen remote control with the screen. That's new.
Yeah, no, we like that. I think that'll definitely be better than sort of hooking the phone up. You know, you don't want to run out of battery on the phone and poor connection or whatever else. So the screen will be the go.
And obviously we'll be taking that out in the boat. We'll be hunting tuna. We'll be getting some cool footage out of all our fishing adventures. And no doubt we'll keep you all in the loop.
Yep, we look forward to that. Absolutely. Rhodey, give me a chance here, mate. I'll have the orange, thanks. We talked about last episode, anybody who dialed into 72 would have heard about our ripper day out on the water with Harry. Chris also out there, really great guy. Learned a fair bit off him, and he's been very helpful ever since, actually helped us work out the drone and a few other bits and pieces. So that's been awesome. But my orange has been actually getting to sample the sashimi kingfish.
It's good chewing, isn't it? It's as good as it gets, I reckon.
It's delicious. Very good. Just a bit of ginger and soy.
Yeah.
That's all I needed, mate. Didn't need anything fancy like you with preserved lemon.
That's homemade preserved lemon, thanks.
Oh, my goodness me.
So we did the preserved lemon and what are those things called again? Pomegranates?
You're going to try and start like a cooking podcast.
I could. But anyway, I also was kind enough to share that with the listeners on the Instagram, Diz. Didn't get to see yours.
Sorry, mate. It wasn't very Insta-worthy, the setting. We were sort of having a bit of an entree and a bit of a rush. So
yeah, okay.
Next time.
All right, what's your lemon, mate?
Well, I'll roll straight into my lemon. And sure, this might not be exclusively podcast and fishing related, but it definitely has been my lemon over the last 2 weeks. We've got a bit of a punters club. We don't get carried away. We're not dropping thousands and thousands of dollars. Gamble responsibly, absolutely. But we've got a Bet with Mates account on Sportsbet, as I'm sure a lot of people do, or if they don't, they'd know about it. And we're pathetic.
Speak for yourself.
You are the worst, mate. You're up for relegation. We're seriously thinking about dropping you. There's been some internal talks and we are seriously thinking about dropping you. Your 15-leg multis never come up.
Mate, I had a 4-leg tennis multi, and who would have thought that bloody Medvedev would lose?
Quarter was amazing.
Yeah, he's got some limbs about him, doesn't he? A lanky fella. Got some levers.
He's an interesting looking dude, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the headband. But anyway, all of that aside, the Punters Club has been a lemon for me. We haven't had a win in a while, and if we have, we've been lucky to get our money back.
Would it be fair to say it's a poor time of year for it? There's not a lot of, spring racing's obviously when
hasn't mattered in the past.
Some of our mates are a bit more knowledgeable than others.
What do you mean, some of our mates? We've got one mate who knows a bit about racing.
Fraser thinks he knows a bit.
Fraser knows nothing about racing. It's hopeless.
And then we always don't mind a footy multi.
Yeah, but you're equally as bad as them as you are with the tennis multis. All right, let's move on from the Punters Club. We need to get into your lemon, mate.
Look, Diz, so what do you do when you buy a drone, Diz?
Well, it's not as simple as just buying the drone.
A, there's 1,000 accessories.
Yeah.
And B, you got to store the thing, and we want to take it out on the boat, so we want something pretty heavy duty. There's 50,000 bloody options on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And if you think that I can't be talked into a drone landing pad, then you're kidding yourself.
So it's, you splash out over $1,000 on the drone, and then it's just one thing leads to another. You buy drone insurance, and you bloody look at storage cases and foam cutouts and landing pads and skids and whatever else.
Yeah, I know. This sums us up.
All the gear but no idea. We can't fly the thing.
Right.
We've got everything that opens
I'm sure
and
most
shuts.
people probably just buy a drone and fly it. Whereas, of course, all the gear, we just need to have everything that opens and shuts. All right, good little oranges and lemons segment, Rhodey. Let's move on. But before we get into the news, we do, of course, want to touch on the summer fishing comp / giveaway we are doing. Of course, we've mentioned this on the podcast every episode for the last few because it's such a great giveaway, Rhodey, and we've had a bit of traction recently. Clearly, people out doing a bit of summer fishing and that sort of thing has been very helpful, but my goodness, the prizes are amazing.
They are, Diz. So we'll just quickly run through them. Prize pack 1, a Shimano Sustain 4000, 3 Troll So Hard tuna skirts, and the cap, beanie, and stubby holder from us at the podcast. And that one, you've just got to share the post. So that's the easy one.
Yeah, that's right. That's simples.
And the other prize pack is a Shimano Vanford 3000, which is a go-to whiting reel.
Yeah.
Then you get your Savage tackle pack with your burley pot, your cap, your sinkers, your Gemini sinkers, plus you get the same merch from us. And that one's for your best fishing photo. So that's the one where you get to show off.
Yeah, that's right. Go through the archives if you have to. We don't really care. Of course, we're encouraging recent photos or most, trips out on the boat through the summer period, but we are just loving seeing people's catches.
It's great, Diz, and it keeps us in the loop with you guys. We know what's happening. It helps us to fill the fishing report.
Yeah, and look, huge thanks to the people who have contributed. Shimano have put up some amazing reels that always best in the business. Troll So Hard lures.
Always help us out.
They're doing the damage this year too, might I just add. Wanda Fish Charters have been smashing them on them. They've been doing the damage on the tuna, which is no surprise really, and best in the business when it comes to lead or any other tackle needs. Savage Tackle, they've done a great job.
Yes, Diz. So thanks to all them for getting behind it. The competition closes on January 29th, so we're keeping it open for the sort of upcoming long weekends, and then we'll draw the winners, and that'll be on our next podcast, Diz.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. So that'll be episode 74, we reckon. We'll be talking about the winners. So yeah, watch this space, but get your entries in. Get them in now because you don't want to miss out on this. Rhodey, what do we got for the news segment?
All right, Diz, I will get you started, and it feels like it's all we talk about at the moment, but this is important. So the flood waters in the Murray, Diz, is creating an absolute breeding ground for carp.
Yeah, so look, I don't know too much of the specifics about this, but clearly the carp reproduce in enormous numbers, but they lay their eggs in I
think those backwaters, the floodplains.
Yeah, and with all the water coming through, it's just flushing all them out, and they are just going crazy.
And so, yeah, sort of that western part of New South Wales. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos, but there's thousands and thousands of them in that shallow water.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And, as much as clearly, again, a lot of stuff in the news has been around what's been washing up or what's been flushing out of the Murray mouth now, been in our lovely state, but none of that. This is going to cause a boom, and clearly this article outlines that, Rhodey. And
this particular article that we're reading, it's on the ABC website, and this is a shout out to get this herpes virus. Bit of hustle.
Yeah, look, something we've been talking about on and off as it pops its head up in the news again, and we won't rehash over too much of this, but clearly there's calls to manage the carp, because if this does lead to, further sort of pressure on some of those natives, this could be really damaging for our waterways.
Yeah, Diz, you're exactly right. Like they've done the research. It sort of got put on hold a little bit with the COVID taking over.
Yeah.
But, that's sort of reasonably under control at the moment. So there is people pushing, I suppose, on the other side of the argument. This is a quote from Charles Sturt University research scientist Ivor Stewart. And he's basically said, we expect as the river returns to in-channel or regulated normal conditions, there'll be a massive mortality event on those juvenile fish. And he's talking about the carp in that quote. So he's basically saying that a lot of them are going to die off anyway. So now's not the time to do it.
Yeah.
So he sort of said, despite the prolific breeding, he said that was partly why right now is not a good time to release the virus. So he's basically come back and said exactly the opposite to everyone else. And I suppose he is the scientist. And he's just said that during higher water conditions, there are just so many carp that the cleanup would be huge and the effects of the virus would be reduced because there's so much area to cover, which makes sense. The water's expanded. If you are arguing that a lot of those carp are going to die off anyway, he's basically said we should wait till there's back to normal flow conditions. So the water's less, there's less sort of surface area for it to cover. And hopefully some of those carp have already died off as the river sort of recedes.
You think in some of those backwaters, though, where you can see just thousands of them, it's like just cast a net on them.
Look, I'll go out there with a crowbar and clean a few up if you want.
Well, just cast, I know you can't do that, but, there could be an exemption there.
Well, I think there should be.
Right, anyway, Rody, let's move on because that's a good little bit of coverage of the carp on something that's very topical at the moment, the floodwaters. But let's move on because, again, something that has been resultant possibly from the floodwaters is the Goolwa Cockle closure, Rody, which is not unusual, right? Can I say most?
Mate, you can set your clock to this. It happens every year.
Yeah. Goolwa Cockle closure basically until further notice. So it's an indefinite closure at the moment until they do some further testing, but E-Coli has been found in some pippies.
Yep. Correct.
And so they've closed all taking of Goolwa Beach pippies, like I say, indefinitely until they do some further testing, which fortunately in the past it has usually been for a period of time. They do some more testing, they don't detect E. coli and it opens back up. Thing is, they never extend the season.
No, they don't, Diz.
So they're still closing it when they plan on closing it every other year. It just reduces the amount of time that you can fish for them.
And I know there has been a suspicion that this is likely to happen because of the floodwater, but like we say, it generally happens every year anyway. But I think they've been doing increased screening for it as well.
Yeah, they have. Because I think a lot of people were questioning, saying, do we need to close it down because of the floodwaters, blah, blah, blah. And there was some testing done and they said, well, no, there hasn't been any detection of E. coli, so it's safe to open and go ahead. They've obviously gone ahead. Now they've done some further testing. So they close it down. So it's a bit of a watch this space. Can I just say, though, they're still selling Goolwa Cockles.
Yeah, well, I think it's different for the pros, isn't it?
Well, I mean, look, the pros maybe they go under testing themselves for E. coli for the cockles that they sell or the pippies that they sell for consumption. But presumably this is closed down because of detection for E. coli, because they know that a lot of people are down there collecting cockles to eat.
Yeah, so theoretically, if they knew you were only taking them for bait, you should be able to.
Yeah, so can they just put a waiver up at the Goolwa Surf Lifesaving Club, and if you go down there and you leave the beach with a few, you just basically say, I'm declaring I'm actually using all these cockles for bait?
I'd sign my life away for sure.
Can we start a protest for that?
I don't know, we could just do an artificial waiver and sit down there and try our luck. I think we'd be popular.
That would be very reckless. Rody, the wrecked fish comp.
Yes,
you know about this?
I do. You can share it though. It's a big fish, that one.
Oh, mate, it's a fatty, that one. Big cullop.
Cullop?
Yellow belly?
You tried to say then? Cullop?
Hey?
Cullop in this state, yellow belly in the others.
Yeah. Beautiful Shimano fishing pack up for grabs. Wreck Fish has put it up there. So 72 centimetre Western New South Wales callop, so not from our state, but basically it's a guess the weight.
And it's
comp.
a full-on football, that thing.
Oh, mate.
It is bloody round and fat.
That would have been like pulling in a boulder, I reckon.
Oh, hell.
So get on there, get on the Wreckfish page because you want to jump on there and just whack in your guess, and there's going to be you go into a random draw to win that Shimano pack, which has got a whole bunch of goodies in there, Rody.
It's a Shimano prize pack. You get a bag, a stump jumper. They're good lures. Some squidgy soft plastics and a Shimano stick bag.
Yeah. So good little prize. So jump on there. Jump on that at Wreckfish. So you'll find that on their socials page for sure. Rody, what else is going on in the news this week?
Diz, this is just going to be a quick one because this is, as we say, it's a changing beast, this River Murray boating restrictions. As we talked about last episode, how they've put in the zones for the different parts of the Murray.
Yep.
Well, the good news is the worst of the flooding has passed in those upstream parts, so the first part of the South Australian Murray.
Yep.
So boating restrictions have eased upstream of Lock 3, and motorised vessels, including speedboats and jet skis, can now return to the water provided they obey speed limits.
Welcome news for them, Rody.
So, yeah, good on them, Diz.
Yeah, it's good news.
There is still restrictions on kayaks and houseboats. I'm reading here. I think houseboats are going to be an interesting one because it is going to be hard to find, parking. It's going to be more difficult probably to manoeuvre while the flow stays up.
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, sometimes driving those things are hard at the best of times. If you going upstream against the wind, sometimes that thing can just get fishtailing, especially if you're in the driver's seat.
I was the best driver of that houseboat so comfortably.
When you try and get it planing. Brody, the SA Carp Frenzy is our next little fishing news item. What do we got?
Diz, we've got the Carp Frenzy in Lake Bonney at Barmera.
Yep.
So it is held on the 4th of the 3rd, 2023.
Yep.
And Diz, there's some massive prizes in this.
Big prizes and just a huge call out to anyone who is interested in this event to get down there because as we know, some of those sort of river towns have been absolutely smashed by the floods. And so any support that we can throw their way is certainly worthwhile. So if you haven't been a part of this comp in the past, whack it in your calendar, get down there. It's on the 4th of March and you'll have a great time. And
Diz, it's interesting. So this year they've introduced something new. So there's prizes for those that are obviously at the event. So they're fishing for $3,000 first prize, $1,500 second prize, third prize $500 plus a heap of weekend getaways, fishing kayaks, swags, local wine, etc., etc. So that's for anyone on site fishing at Lake Bonney on the 4th of March.
Yep.
But there's now a statewide competition. So you can participate from anywhere in South Australia. It's an online registration. And there's $1,000 for that.
That is excellent. It's exceptional.
So you don't even have to get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might be doing carp fishing anywhere. You might be helping out the river, getting rid of a few pests, throwing a line in, catching an absolute stonker, get a photo, enter it.
And yeah, so you register online. The cash prize will be a random draw and anyone can win.
Amazing,
So
Rody.
that's really opening it up to the whole state, which is great.
Very good, Rody. We love that. Great little news segment there. Had some juicy ones.
Yeah, really dominated by the carp and the Murray and the flow on from that, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We've pulled out what you need to know. So that's good. Rody, let's get our guest on the line. Righto, Rody, it's fantastic to have Steve on the line now, coast-to-coast comp organiser and does an absolute spectacular job year in, year out, with a few helpers, no doubt, but we'll get into that soon. Steve, thanks for coming on the show.
Morning, guys. How are we all?
Really good, Steve. Good to have you on board. Now, I want to ask you firstly, how many years are you up to running this competition?
You wouldn't believe it. This is the 9th year, eh? So, it started off with it might last a year, but we're up to our 9th year. So this is pretty awesome.
Oh, mate, it's fantastic. And, look, we can't wait to get stuck into some of the things that the people fishing can come to expect. And they've come to absolutely love this comp. It's a real highlight in the calendar for a lot of us. No doubt you as well, mate, but it'd be pretty busy for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the wife at the moment does a lot of the work because it's obviously collating all the entrants and making sure that everything goes smoothly on the day for them and herself. So And obviously I'm just talking to the entrants and negotiating with sponsors as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, beautiful, Steve. We did want to touch on that because I have seen you've been adding the sponsors to the Facebook page as the weeks go on. You've got a big, strong list of guest sponsors lined up. Can you tell us about some of them?
Yeah, no, well, obviously we've got our main sponsor, Club Marine. Those guys have been absolutely awesome for the last 3 years. But having said that, there's about 25 other sponsors that dig deep into their pockets, and a lot of them are small business. So, that just shows how much they appreciate the competition as well. So it's not just the entrants, it's the businesses that are involved as well.
And a lot of great local South Australian businesses too, which is always good to see.
It is. If more people get behind it, the better chance of this thing keeps going and getting bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you said, you've got Club Marine and some of those sort of pillar sponsors, but there's always familiar names there, and it's like sort of pointing out people at a wedding. If you start doing that, then you got to rip through everybody's name. But you're right, those local suppliers that they probably bloody love getting down there having a fish in it themselves. So they always look for it.
A lot of the sponsors actually do come down and fish, if not just come down and hang out and have a beer and join the banter that's down there.
And Steve, another great part of the competition is always the prizes. Tell us about some of them.
Again, sponsors have just dug so deep again in hard times, and we're up to about $25,000 in prizes. So,
wow.
And that's prizes and giveaways. So, we've always focused on making sure we can give as much as we can to the fishers that participate, and I think that's a pretty cracker way to do it.
Absolutely, mate. It certainly, except for obviously the fishing being a real highlight of the weekend, just, like you say, whether it's catching up with mates who you might not have seen for a while, checking out some new gear or spinning a yarn at the, at the campgrounds and that sort of thing. Everyone has a great time.
That's it. The atmosphere in the campgrounds is always great. A lot of the guys don't get to see each other throughout the year, and that's their one time they have a couple of brews and talk some rubbish. You know what I mean? Talk a few long tails.
No, we're good at that, mate. Don't worry about that. And Steve, sorry, what anything new this year or similar format?
Very, very similar format. We've got Flinders University coming down. They'll do some studies with otoliths from the head of the tunas. They did that last year, and they got some great results to share with us this year. I think we've got Dr. Sean Tracy from the Tuna Champions coming over, and he'll have a bit of a chat with us and let us know how we're going.
Yep.
And also the Mayor. The Mayor's supported us from day one, so she'll be along to say good day and talk to the fishers as well.
Yes, we have had her on the podcast. She's a keen participant, I know that.
Yeah, no, it's great that she actually camps as well, so she sees the whole start to finish of the event, so which is really great.
Absolutely. And is it the same sort of, there'll be a briefing session held on Friday evening and then fishing the next couple of days?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of new entrants this year as well, so we're going to give the right information out at the right time. So safety has always been our biggest thing. So just making sure everyone's got their right gear and they're in the right focus to get out in the high seas.
Absolutely, mate. And now, look, just touch on yourself a bit personally, because I know in previous years it's been so crazy for you at the start of the year, then sometimes you have a bit of a cutout and get out on the boat after the comp's done. Have you managed to do any fishing, or are you just going to wait until this one gets out of the way?
I've done a little bit of fishing, but I'm actually going to throw a line out next week just to, inspect the waters myself, from Victor to the Cape, just to see what's going on out there. You can't take the word on the internet. You never know who's telling secret squirrels.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll get out there and have a look. But I've only done 1 or 2 trips this year, and one of them was an absolute cracker highlight. I took my 15-year-old son down to Port MacDonald, and he got himself a 96-kilo tuna.
Oh, beautiful.
Mate.
Living the dream.
Father and son in their own boat, it was, we did it. We did the dream, so to speak.
Beautiful. And you did say you've been out once around there. What do you know about the dirty water and the Goolwa stuff going on, all the flood water? How's that affecting it, do you know?
Yeah, that's going to be my main purpose for the trip coming out this week, just to see how far it's travelled as far as clarity. I've been off the Cape, you can see the dirty water sucking in and out, but we got fish without even trying, really. So the tuna are there. It's just a matter of the bait and the fish all flowing out of the backstairs passage, I guess. So
you don't think it's having too much of an impact on the local Victor Harbour fish?
It's definitely had a small impact, but it's also been a late season as well. So,
yes.
It's hard to mash the two together and work out what's actually going on. But like I say, I'll get out there myself and, have a bit of a look and see what we can come up with.
And do you think the late season is due to that sort of cold spring we had?
Definitely, but the currents have been going the wrong way,
Yeah,
so they've been heading back west instead of coming from the west. So that holds the fish back, and now they're slowly turning around, which hopefully helps with the dirty water as well.
Yeah, that's right, and we'll certainly look forward to this could be one of those years where it all lines up and they just start firing at the right time of year in the right spot. But that's part of fishing, isn't it? Every year's different, and
and a lot can happen in 3 weeks too. So
well, that's exactly right, and everybody will do the miles.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what's part of it. It's not just the fishing; it's having the banter, and if you get out there on the fish, well, that's a bonus. So you can't go wrong.
Exactly right. We might have to get you to send us through an update on your once you've done your little mission out there, because we're heading over to York, so we're not going to be able to find anything out. So we might have to get you to give us the inside word, Steve.
I'm going to give everyone a heads up, mate. Like, it's not a hiding game out there. The fish move pretty.
Exactly right.
Move around quite a lot. I mean, they do stay in areas where there's bait, obviously, but at this point in time, it's not the normal season where everyone's gone out there and had a crack at time. So. Yeah, hopefully it all turns around.
Yes, exactly right, Steve. And have you been doing any other fishing non-tuna related?
No, I've actually took the family over to Kangaroo Island and caught a feed of whiting and flathead, which was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
Haven't done that for a long time.
Where'd you fish off there?
We went over towards Christmas Cove and American River.
Beautiful. Lovely part of the world.
It was beautiful. Almost too good to be sitting in the boat. Should have been on the beach.
Hey, Steve, tell us, you mentioned quite a few new entrants this year. What's the numbers sort of looking like? Are you getting up there with previous years, excelling them? How's it all looking?
Yeah, we're coming through. There's about 30 boats that have entered already.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's more than normal because everyone sort of leaves it to that last minute, whether, getting time off work, watching that weather, that bloody weather. So the flow on is pretty steady from now on in. So I'm looking forward to a decent amount of boats again.
And Steve, how do people sign up?
You can get on the Facebook page, and there's a link there to sign up. So if you go to the Coast to Coast Tuna Tournament 2023, if you look in there, there's a link, and you can get your entries through that way. Or on the Friday before we do our announcements, you can sign up as well. Yeah,
fantastic. We absolutely love the comp. We love what you guys are up to. We're certainly hoping to get down ourselves. Our situations have changed with young kids and no time off work, but we are definitely going to do our absolute best to get in there because it's always a fantastic comp you run, Steve.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks very much for coming on the show, mate. It's excellent to hear that you've got all the sponsors, all the prizes back on board, and it's going to be bigger and better.
Yeah, that's right. We're just going to keep pushing ahead and just fingers crossed for everybody's sake. The fish get nice and thick and everyone has a crack at time.
And just to make sure everyone knows the details, so it's the 10th to 12th of February. So registration on the Friday night, fishing on the Saturday and Sunday, sort of based out of the racetrack down at Victor Harbour, and then obviously launching at the boat ramp. Anything else people need to know?
They're welcome to come down for a beer and watch the professional filleter if they're not actually fishing. And again, it's a good way to have a chat with some of the fishers you might have never met, only spoken to online. Can
Dizzy bring his notepad or camera and get some tips on filleting?
Oh yeah, he's a gun. He brings the crowd in on his own. It's unbelievable. He does he spends bloody hours and hours on end making sure everyone gets a beautiful fillet.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you very much for coming on the show. It's great to hear all about it, and we look forward to the comp itself.
I appreciate the chat, guys. It's awesome. And hopefully we get to see you down there and have another chat.
Absolutely, mate. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks, boys.
Dizzy, excellent to hear from Steve Powell from the Coast to Coast, mate.
Yeah, he does a great job. Him and, like you mentioned, Sarah, who does his wife a lot of organising and getting the entrance all sorted out and helps out on the day. We've seen her down there before. She does an excellent job, and they all do. And it's great, very well organised comp. So
and there's a whole team behind them as well. I suppose they're the face of it, but there is a lot of others that help out both in the lead up and on the weekend.
Well, that's right. And I mean, as he said, look, not possible without sponsors. That's always the way with competitions like this, and it's great to see a lot of them getting back on board.
Diz, and there's also, we should mention a few of the sponsors in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you get your ice and bait from for the event?
Well, that's obvious.
Well, where?
How's your tackle?
So they do it. They bring it down for you, don't they?
Yep, they bring the bait van down. They much prefer pre-orders because if you don't pre-order, you're not guaranteed to get stock because they sell out year on year on year. They do flake ice, big bags of flake ice, and they do the best quality pilchards there is around.
And Deers, who else is there?
Well, of course, there's Trolls So Hard Lures. So if you haven't got them, then you need to go and get yourself some because no doubt they'll be doing some damage on the tuna.
Spreader bar?
Yeah, you want a spreader bar. Good shout. Good shout.
And we'll just run through a few others. The Fishing Guru, as always, very supportive. Lazy Fisho, SFT, the Takumi Lures, if you want a hard body. Deers, Shimano's on board. Great to see. A couple of the bigger companies getting involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're always good to see them as part of the prize packs. Everyone would be loving that. That's for sure.
Towler Marine, service your boat.
Yeah, Brad.
Sorry about on the water the other week.
Yeah, we did. No, excellent. So,
who else is? Who won last year? Mixed Jiggers team.
Mixed Jiggers, yeah.
They're sponsoring.
Yeah, they are. They do an awesome job, and they'll be hoping to get onto some big fat tuna again.
And plenty of others, Diz, including Tuna Champions. And we're hoping to get someone from Tuna Champions on the show very soon to have a chat about all things sort of preparing, looking after, protecting tuna.
Yeah, that's it. And Fluorio Milk as well. Fantastic company. They'll be doing iced coffees for all the entrants.
What's the best thing when you're camping and you don't have access to coffee and you need your caffeine hit?
Mate, you want the double shot Fluorio iced coffees are the business.
Although you have a few issues with toileting when you're out taking an iced coffee out of the boat.
That's because you almost buy a litre of it. I don't know how you consume a litre of milk without going to the toilet.
I've just never met someone with such a sensitive bowel.
I didn't know this podcast turned into a toilet chat bathroom podcast. Anyway,
I just know you get real weird when it comes to drinking milk on a boat.
yeah. Well, that's fine. I got no problem with needing to go to the toilet after drinking a litre of milk. In fact, I think anyone who doesn't's got a problem. There is a whole suite of sponsors, Rhodey. And look, we're not going to go through them because that really isn't what we're here for. Because you can find it on the Club Marine 2023 Coast to Coast Tuna Tournament page. So get on there, have a look, get your your entry in because you don't want to miss out on this one. It's $50 per person, and it's a spectacular event. And like Steve said, even if you're not going down there to fish, but you might be keen to go down there and see what's going on at the race course, all of that sort of stuff, you know?
Bit of a spectator sport, you reckon?
Well, they're always welcome. Like Steve said, you get down there, have a look, get yourself, I'm sure there'll be so many people down there giving away tuna. It'll be crazy.
You reckon it's going to be a good year?
Well, if people will get them for sure, mate. You go far enough, people will get them for sure. Yeah. People will fish around at the Cape, no dramas.
All right, Deers.
Brody.
Thanks again to Steve Powell for coming on, but let's move on and get the fishing report.
Absolutely, Rhodey. Let's hook into the fishing report. And first item off the ranks is where are the blue swimmer crabs?
Dizzy, they are not here.
Where are they?
The other weekend we were over at York's, Diz, at Black Point. I did some scallop diving, did not see one. You put some nets in. How many did you get?
Like 2.
Mate from work, Pete, he was over at Port Hughes. He said he tried nets off the jetty. They tried snorkeling for him. They tried raking for them. Not anywhere to be seen.
Wow. We went out on a pretty port, no tide movement, so it wasn't really running across the spit. But it's interesting that you didn't see them because normally if you go diving this time of year or snorkeling around anywhere, you'll see heaps of them.
So they're certainly not in good numbers at this stage. I wonder whether the colder start to the season has played a part in that.
Maybe. Let's wait and see. There might be a late run of them. You just never know.
That's currently my working hypothesis. I think they'll roll in shortly, but we haven't seen a lot of them yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, and
there's a few.
Dad's always had his sort of crabbing weekend like February, March.
Yeah, often January's the start of the good sort of period. Yeah. January, February, March. Even
they normally fire up something shocking around February and March. Like they normally go crazy.
Yeah, so there is still a bit of time left in the season, but it's definitely at least a late start.
Absolutely. Rhodey, the Yabbies, no question are going to be in good numbers. This floodwaters gets them absolutely going.
Like we said, they are opening back up the upstream part of the river, and from what I've seen, there is buckloads of Yabbies. People are saying they're throwing them in the main flow and doing the damage.
In the main river?
Yeah. So
rare for that.
You don't often get too many in there, do you?
Nah, you don't. But
But
not
that's something we should
surprised.
do, Diz.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't eat them, but I'm happy to go out there and
that's
catch a
right.
few.
You're no fun, I forgot.
No, I don't mind catching a few, mate. I'm all about it.
Are we going to do the Ross Gate style, cook them in 37 kilos of salt water?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Ross's style is basically like a dash of water and like 50 kilos of salt. So
Anyway, they tasted pretty good that
you're
day.
going to have some serious blood pressure issues at the end of that. No question.
All right, Diz, what's next? On to the salt water.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talk about this every now and again when we do manage to get out there ourselves, but Wreckfish videos recently gone up, and I guess a part of this has been about now that the snapper ban has been extended, and look, this happened after the first announcement of the 3-year snapper ban was around, same dish, new fish, that sort of thing, try to get people encouraging to fish for other species so it doesn't put so much heat on your typical ones like whiting and squid. This one here, the video was about dabbing for garfish. And it was a good little insightful video, Rody. It was a metro piece of coastline.
Yep.
We don't know exactly where, but if you have a look at the video, you'll probably be able to hazard yourself a pretty good guess.
And it was the new EO, Asher.
Yeah, it was. Asher did a great job putting that video up. And, look, it was excellent. Just sort of going around the shallows. You want it to be pitch black, so avoid a full moon if you can.
Good spotlight.
You want a good spotlight. You want yourself a net or a couple of nets if you've got a few other people on your boat, because sometimes they'll be out either side. They might be front, back, long handle, short handle. You want a few options.
And it's a very good social activity, isn't it?
It's a
good
great
fun.
social activity, and they got a really good haul.
And there were some big ones in there too.
There was some big fatties in there, that's for sure, but they were, really good. And then, great chewing garfish.
They are. He's a little bit fiddly.
Yeah, look, not easy to fillet, and you want to get yourself a really good butterfly knife if you, get a butterfly fillet, of course. Plenty of ways to cook them, but they're always good chewing. Righty, what else have we got in the report?
Diz, we did talk briefly about kingfish, and they're one of the best catches in the ocean, and they're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. There's been quite a few reports of people who've been out trawling around for tuna, also getting onto some kingies. So there's been some top water action of them as well.
They have, Diz. Some of the charters have been getting them.
Yeah, so they're definitely still around. Clearly heaps of reports online about the whereabouts of them, but if they're in amongst the tuna, you can expect them sort of, down south there off the Flurio.
Yeah, so I think that sort of Cape Jarvis, KI region seems to be firing. There's probably been some over an Eyre Peninsula I think I've seen.
Oh, mate, we'll get on that in a minute. Don't you worry. But let's just talk about the tuna in that same area as well. So people have been, reporting they've been getting them off the Cape and in the passage and all that sort of stuff. But when I was down at Carrick a few weeks ago, it was an absolute glassy morning, and I would have spotted 10 schools at least. Now, some of them would have been
casting rod out?
No, but you could have. They're only like 100, 150 metres off the North Bay at Carrick. Unbelievable.
Well, should we get the drone out and see if we can't?
Could have been some bait schools, but definitely some of them were tuna. Like, it was just amazing. A few boats out there. I'm hearing reports that just some small little metal slugs are getting onto a few.
Yeah, I've heard all sorts of reports. I think they're pretty hit and miss, though, all through that sort of Carrickalinga, Normanville, Warina area.
Certainly a lot of people getting down there and not getting any.
Yeah, and I think more people have been getting them the further south you go, down towards Cape Jarvis.
Yeah.
Maybe they're seem to be biting a little bit better there, but I know the morning we went out, we got them early. A lot didn't get them late.
Yes, that's right.
So they certainly seem to be more flighty this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see. Could be a late season, like Steve said earlier in the show, and we'll just wait. They might start firing in the next week or two. Watch this space. Rhodey, while we're talking about big kings, we were talking about it just a bit earlier. Arno Bay Fishing Adventures. I'm not sure if you follow them on Facebook.
I do.
If you don't, you should. They have been doing some absolute damage on big kings and big sambos.
And not just one or two.
Oh, mate.
Looks like they're getting them all the time.
There are posts after post after post, and there are people just getting absolutely railed on these big kings and sambos. If you're down that, they've been launching from Port Lincoln.
Yeah.
So, Ash Smith, I reckon.
It's certainly Ash. I can't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, amazing how many they've been getting. So he obviously knows where to go for him.
And that's the sort of trip of a lifetime, really, isn't it? If you went out on a charter, you got a big king and a big Samson fish.
Yeah.
You'd just about put the rod in the rack and say, I'm done. I've ticked it off.
Yeah, you would. You seriously would. So, if you're down that way or you're interested in a charter for that sort of thing, then we'd suggest hitting them up. And if you are down in the Flurio, then, of course, you want to hit up Wanna Fish Charters. Tyson's been doing really well. He's just started operating out of Warina. He's been doing a bit of work between Port Mac, Warina. He's down here now for the tuna season and will be for a bit longer. Hit him up on Facebook. He's been using it and he's sponsored by Troll So Hard Lures, so there's no surprises that he's doing well on them.
And Diz, he's another one that we did say a while ago we're going to get on the podcast once he's up and running at Warina, and he is now, so we should get in contact with him.
Yes, we should, Rhodey. He's been taking a few people out. He's probably busy out there fishing, but we'll line up a time to have a chat with him for sure.
Diz, that was a pretty comprehensive fishing report, I would have thought.
I thought it was good. We've covered a fair few different areas of the state.
We've covered everything.
So no matter
Yabbies,
where you're
crabs,
fishing.
garfish, bigger stuff.
That's right, absolutely. Rhodey, let's wrap that report up and let's get into the tackle segment before we wrap up today's episode. What do we got on today's tackle item?
Now, Diz, when we did go out with Harry the other week, we all took the piss out of your inability to catch a squid, early days, and et cetera, et cetera. But what else did we bag you out about?
Oh, you were really hooking into me about my sunnies.
Yeah, what do you need in a good pair of sunnies?
Polarized.
What did you have?
Oh, mate, I have polarized lenses. My eyes are just battling.
Well, everyone else was like spotting tuna, spotting kingfish, seeing everything that was going on, and you couldn't see a thing.
Mate, anybody who is listening to this who knows you is just sitting there wetting themselves laughing. You're the bloke who goes to the football with binoculars, prescription glasses, and a radio just so you can see the action, and you're having to go at me about my eyes?
I'm borderline legally blind, and I could see the tuna with prescription goggles.
Honestly, I'm expecting by mid to late 40s you'll be walking around with a cane. And I'm not having this. Is your eyesight is a problem.
But Dizzy, that just tells you how important a good pair of polarized sunnies are.
Yes.
Because they cut off the glare, they let you see sort of through the surface of the water, and particularly when you're sight casting for like a school of tuna on the top, or you threw that stick bait, that popper in and got a hit, you wouldn't have seen those fish without the polarized.
No, and I did turn my luck around on the squid because I went bang, 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 got 3 in a row. Shimano flash boost in the white, doing the damage on those squid.
They were, Diz. And I suppose the other thing that the polarized can be good for is spotting your bottom. When you're fishing in shallower water, you want to get on the broken bottom for the whiting, see the white holes, look for that longer weed when you're squid fishing. So it's an essential, really, good pair of polarized glasses.
Absolutely. Brody, good little tackle segment there, I thought.
Yeah, we just want some tips for the people. For the guests, for the listeners.
Yes, very good. Brody, let's wrap up today's episode. Great to have a chat with Steve. We've covered off a fair bit in the news segment. Let's go back to the start of the episode, and don't forget to get your photos in and get amongst our prize this summer. It's excellent. You want to get your hands on a Sustain or the Vanford, plus all the other prize pack in there, mate.
And there's only about a week or so to go in that, Diz, so you are running out of time, but make sure you get in on it and win some of those prizes. I've been sitting on my pool table. I've been very tempted to take one out for a bit of a whirl, but I haven't.
Good. It doesn't say in there we're giving away second-hand gear, mate, so don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
All right, Diz, another great episode. Thanks to Steve Powell from the Coast to Coast Comp for coming on for a chat, Diz, and thanks for coming on for a chat.
Thanks, Rhodey. We'll catch up with you next time.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.